That'll bring up Brody Oliver, the starting pitcher. So got one out here in the top of the first inning. Albany, the visiting team this afternoon in game 2 of this series against DeLeon. That slow breaking ball is going to catch the outside corner for strike number 1. Got a beautiful complex here in Graford, Texas, at the baseball field here, and just to the right of us we got the softball field, and we got a nice little press box here that looks out over both playing fields here. That pitch is going to miss low for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Oliver. Fairchild, your base runner at first base. He's got a modest lead over there at first. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and Fairchild's going to run for second on a steal, and he'll slide in, and they're going to call him safe. The umpire hesitated there at second base, kind of watching Fairchild to see if he stayed on the bag as he slid well past the second base bag, but kept his hand on it. So Fairchild to second base in scoring position now after the stolen base. The count 2-1 here to Oliver. Now Fairchild's going to run towards third. This ball's going to be grounded to the shortstop. Shortstop's going to throw it over to Gibson. Fairchild will try to score from second, and he will. Great job there by Callan Fairchild, as he's going to score on a ground out to the shortstop for out number 2, but Fairchild scores from second base to make it 1-0. So good job there by Callan. This will bring up Chip Chambers. This pitch is going to miss way outside for ball number 1. Perez, the pitcher for DeLeon. So Perez with the windup here. Where's number 3? That ball's going to be lined past the third baseman into left field, and Chambers around first, and he'll slam on his brakes. And Chip Chambers keeps his hot streak alive in this series. As yesterday he led the game off, or had his first hit of a triple, had a couple singles, and he was 3 for 3 on the afternoon yesterday. And Chip off to another good start. He was yesterday's starting pitcher. He pitched the complete game. This will bring up Clay Chapman. Chapman, the freshman catcher today. Chambers going to second. He'll slide in safely. And you can see that Coach Fairchild's going to use the speed of his baseball team this afternoon. Put a lot of pressure on this catcher. Chambers, Chip kind of slid in, kind of got up slowly, and Coach Fairchild called a timeout to go check on him, but he waved him off. And Coach Fairchild in the third base coaching box. Got Coach Faith over there in the first base box. Here's the pitch. That's going to be skied towards left field. The left fielder's going to come in, and he'll make the catch. So Chapman's going to fly out to left field, but your Albany Lions able to get up, get 1 run. We're on to the bottom of the first inning. It's Albany 1, DeLeon 0.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
All right, welcome back here. We're in Graford, Texas. Got a nice facility here. It's 350 to dead center, 315 to left, and 315 to right, I believe. I got a probably a. I don't know. You think that wall out there in center in the outfield, is it probably 8 to 10 feet? What do you think?
I bet it's at least 8 feet.
8. All right, it's 8 feet tall. Surrounds the outfield. A beautiful field here, a field turf. The pitching mound is just regular dirt. And they had a little issue as, of course, the rain that's kind of swept through our area for the last week and a half has rained quite a bit here in the Graford area also. So they had to do a little mound prep before the game, but they got that looking good and didn't appear to be an issue as Perez made it through his first inning without many issues. So here's the leadoff hitter for DeLeon. That'll be Jones, I believe, and swing and a miss is Oliver's first pitch. So Brody Oliver, the starting pitcher this afternoon in game number 2, and Clay Chapman will be the catcher. Here's Oliver's 0-1 pitch, and that'll be a strike number 2, a swing and a miss. And your infield consists of Wesley Gleets over at third base. You got Vickers at shortstop, McCloy at second, Fairchild at first. Here's the righty delivery of the 0-2 pitch, and that's going to miss low. Nope, going to call it a strikeout. Delayed call, but Brody's going to get a strikeout of Jones. That'll be the first K of the afternoon for Brody. Your outfield from left to right consists of Woods Peterson. You got Chip Chambers in center and Landon Paquet in right field. Oliver's pitch is going to miss up in the zone for ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. The Lions lead 1-0. Pitch is going to miss low for ball number 2. Your designated hitter this afternoon for Albany will be Ballou. So Ballou will be batting for the right fielder Paquet. This pitch is going to miss inside. Count now 3-0. So Oliver worked with all strikes to Jones, but here to Perez, his command has left him. That's going to miss. Nope, going to be a strike. This may be a broadcast nightmare watching this guy call balls and strikes behind the plate. He's one of those that wait a long time. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That's going to be skied back towards the softball field here behind us. So Brody's worked the count full here. So good job there by Oliver to fight back after falling behind 3-0. Gleach, your third baseman, he plays about a step away from the third base bag. Swing and a miss. Oliver's going to strike him out. So Oliver with the strikeout of Perez and getting off to a good start here. The junior righty mixing in some of that off-speed pitch that looked like more of a slider action. Chip Chambers, your center fielder, he's kind of shading towards left field here with the left-handed batter up. We got 2 outs here. In the bottom of the first inning, Albany able to take game 1 yesterday in Clyde. Looking to close out this series here in game number 2. Here's Oliver's 2-0 pitch, and that's going to be skied up towards Aiden Vickers and Wesley Gleets. Gleets will call for it, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. So 1-2-3 inning for your Albany Lions, and we'll go on to the second. It's Albany 1, DeLeon 0.
In 2006, there was a vision, and that vision became a reality when the feed store opened its doors in 2012. The feed store is a place where students are fed both mentally and physically. We hold several events throughout the year, along with Tuesday lunches for all juniors and seniors during the school year. We host the famous Running Man event on the last Saturday of October for all junior and senior high students, along with worship nights on the last Wednesday of every month. Our mission is simple: We are a non-denominational youth mission facility where the youth of Albany and surrounding areas have a safe and supervised place to play, study, and
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorite.
I can earn that solo!
You see my kid?
Yeah!
Come on!
All right, welcome back here. Temperatures around 66 degrees here in Graford, Texas. Really cloudy. The rain has appeared to kind of push out of here. You look at these clouds and you think, well, it might rain at some point, but looking at the radar, hopefully we'll be clear of that weather. Yesterday's temperatures near 90 degrees in Clyde, today 66. Welcome to West Texas. So Perez pitch to Gleets is going to be a ball. So ball number 1 here. So 1-0 count. And Wesley will foul this one back. Austin may get a workout here. He's got one baseball in his hand and he's running down the foul ball. So the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Gleets, the third baseman. That's going to miss low as it bounces in to the catcher. So count now 2-1. Albany leading 1-0. First inning, Albany scored on a ground out to the shortstop as Callan Fairchild scored from second base. This is going to be grounded towards the second baseman, Couch. It'll go off his glove and roll into right field. So that's a second fielding error by DeLeon. So Gleets will reach first base on the E4. This will bring up Woods Peterson, the left fielder. So it appears Perez pitches the contact. So looks like the Lions will be able to put the ball in play this afternoon. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but going to rely on that defense. And so far, DeLeon's defense has been below par. So no balls and 1 strike here as Peterson swinging a high fastball. The curveball is going to be a swing and a miss. The count now 0-2. Peterson bats from the right side. The junior pretty much close to the plate, and that's going to be fouled back to the screen, so he'll keep his at bat alive here, and the count will remain 0-2. Brody able to get through that first inning on only 12 pitches. Look at that pitch count out there, and pretty successful first inning for Oliver, and that pitch is going to miss outside, so the count now 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes here. This crowd is still kind of filing in, not as big a crowd as yesterday's crowd. Gleets is going to be thrown. Oh, going to say safe. Slides in safely at second base. The ball and Wesley all arrived at the second base bag at the same time. And I believe Gleets' slide, it slid towards the outer part of the bag is what kept him from being thrown out. So a good job there by Wesley. And count it's 2-2 as Peterson fouls it back to the screen once again. So a runner now in scoring position here. That's Gleets that stands at second. No outs here. And we're in the top of the second inning. A swing and a miss, and that'll be Perez's first strikeout of the afternoon. This will bring up Mason McCloy here. McCloy, he had some web gems yesterday at second base. Did a good job making all the routine plays, and then he had a double play that he turned in a big part of that game. McCloy looks to bunt here, but he doesn't offer. Coach Fairchild running through his signs here. Perez comes set. Here's the pitch. That's going to be a bunt, a perfect bunt. Perez will try to barehand it. It'll roll out of his hand, and McCloy will be safe at first base. It's a good job there by Mason. This will bring up Ballou. So Ballou's going to be batting for Piquet. So runners at first and third here, no outs. Lions lead 1-0. Senior Landon Ballou getting an opportunity to bat here in game number 2. Yesterday it was Sean Keene. McCloy will take off to second base. They'll throw it down to second base, but McCloy's going to slide in safely. So you can kind of see the game plan on the bases this afternoon. It's pretty much everybody's got a green light. The runners now at second and third. Here's the pitch. Now it's going to be a strike. So Ballou down in the count 0-2 here. So an 0-2 count here, 1 out. Here's the pitch. That breaking ball is going to be high for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Ballou, and the Lions trying to get another couple of runs in here early, leading 1-0. That's going to be grounded towards the third base dugout. Pitch got in on the hands of Ballou, but see if Ballou can come up with a hit here, or at least put it in play. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That curveball is going to be a swing and a miss. So Ballou's going to go down on a strikeout. So that's 2 strikeouts in this inning. That'll bring up Aiden Vickers. So Vickers, the shortstop. He's 0 for 1, but he did reach base safely on a E6. Oh, they just threw it out in the outfield. Tried to pick off McCloy, and that'll score a run. Gleitz will come across. So that's how the Lions scored their second run, and that'll bring the pitching coach out of the dugout here to make a visit. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Albany Baseball.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 12 million participants in America who take part in high school sports or activities.
Welcome back here. So quick mound visit from the DeLeon coach. Albany leading 2-0 now, and 2 outs here, and McCloy over at third base, and Vickers up to bat. Curveball's going to be grounded towards the pitcher. He'll glove it, throw on to first base, and that'll retire Vickers. So that'll end the inning, but not before your Lions can score another run. So it's Albany 2, DeLeon 0. We'll be back.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
All right, welcome back here. Lions lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Albany able to get one in the first and one in the second. Oliver back on the mound here for his 13th pitch of the afternoon. This will be Wright, the left-handed batter here. And that's going to be a called strike as Oliver paints the outside corner for strike number 1. Working quickly here, and that ball's going to be fouled back, so Oliver ahead in the count 0-2. Nice little breeze here in Graford. Yesterday everybody was hunting shade. Today everybody's digging for that light jacket in their vehicle. That's going to miss outside. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Albany in the first base dugout. You got DeLeon over in the third base dugout. Oliver now pushes the count to 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes here. Oliver's throwing out of the windup here. He'll miss outside, so the count now full. Callan Fairchild, your first baseman, plays beyond the first base bag a few steps, but as he walks in, as the pitch is being thrown here. Now it's going to miss outside, so a leadoff walk of Wright will get DeLeon their first base runner of the afternoon. This will bring up Gibson, the first baseman for DeLeon, and yesterday Gibson able to align a shot into left field for a double. So he was one of the louder hits of the afternoon for the Bearcats. He'll foul this one back, and it goes off the mitt of Chapman. It's a count 0-1. Yesterday, DeLeon didn't show any effort to really run the bases aggressively. They weren't trying to steal. Of course, part of that is Oliver behind the plate has a good strong arm, but the other part of that was with the left-handed pitcher Chambers. He was keeping them close over at first base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's going to miss low. Of course, Clay Chapman's got a strong arm behind the plate. That's going to be a strikeout. Gibson's going to strike out, so that's out number 1. I'll say this, we're a long ways from home plate, so maybe my eyes are not as good as his because he's a lot closer than I am. That's the 3rd or 4th time I've been kind of fooled. So 1 ball, no strikes here, 1 out, runner at first base, and Oliver will throw over, and Wright will slide back into the bag safely, but this is Torres up the bat for DeLeon. They'll try to steal here. Chapman throws it down to second base, and they'll slide into Mason McCloy, and Mason able to keep his balance. Kind of an awkward position that McCloy got into as Wright was able to get into second base. So now a runner in scoring position for DeLeon. And Brody behind in the count at 3-0. So 3 balls and no strikes here to Torres. That's going to go to the backstop. Runner Wright will take third base. And this will bring a mound visit from Coach Fairchild. So we'll take a quick break. You're listening to Albany Baseball. All right, Coach Fairchild walking back towards the first base dugout. He brought his infield in, had a quick discussion with Brody and those guys, and let's see what kind of situation Albany puts on here as runners are at first and third. So, got one out here. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Your Albany Lions lead 2-0. And breaking ball's going to catch the outside corner for strike number 1. So good pitch there by Oliver. Albany's middle infield playing at double play depth. A swing and a miss. It's going to be strike number 2. Oliver already has issued 2 walks this inning. Out of the runners that are at first and third. Ahead in the count at 0-2 here. That's going to miss outside, so the count now 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here as that pitch was just beyond the outside corner. I mean, it was a nice looking throw there by Oliver. Oliver with a glance over to third. Swing and a miss. That'll be a strikeout. So now 2 outs. So good job there by Oliver. And whatever adjustments he made to that batter, Oliver able to strike him out. Make quick work of Andrew. So 2 outs now, and Lions leading 2-0. This wind, the flag's out in right field. They're kind of blowing more towards right field. So I don't know that you're really going to have to get a hold of a baseball to hit one out this afternoon in this cool, damp air. No balls and 1 strike here. Here's Oliver's pitch. That's going to be lined down towards right field, but it'll be foul. About 6 feet foul to the right down there, and just a long strike. The count now at 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes here, 2 outs. So Oliver has runners at first and third, but it's 1 pitch away from working out of this little jam. He's going to miss up in the zone. Count now 1-2. DeLeon's third base coach going through some signs here. And I think they're going to try to run at some point. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that curveball's going to miss, and he'll take second base. Now runners at second and third. Count now 2-2 here for Oliver. Oliver really working that outside corner with his pitches. That's going to be fouled back. Chapman was set out there on that outside corner, but that pitch there caught a lot of the plate. That movement was telling in towards the right-handed batter. Brody's pitch count has climbed to 34 pitches here in this second inning. Big long pause here. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss low and inside. So now it's a full count here, and issue these walks to the bottom of the lineup here, and usually that's not a successful recipe, but let's see if Oliver can get out of it. That ball's going to be hit towards right field. Piquet comes in, makes the catch. Piquet loses his hat. He's running to his right and makes a nice catch. So that's another out that Piquet made out there in right field. So DeLeon will strand 2. Your Lions still lead by the score of 2-0. We'll be back.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
Top of the third inning here. The Lions leading by a score of 2-0, and this will bring up Fairchild. Callan Fairchild, he has scored this afternoon. He scored the first run. He's officially 0 for 1 on the afternoon as he grounded out in his first plate appearance. He hit it to the shortstop, and shortstop was able to get Aiden Vickers out at second base. This is going to be grounded towards Couch. Couch will glove it at second base. Low throw, and Gibson will dig it out of the turf. Good play there by Gibson, the first baseman. Fairchild will be a ground out to the second baseman for out number 1. This will bring up Oliver, and Oliver 0 for 1 on the afternoon, and Brody struggled in game number 1 with his at-bats. Trying to get his bat going here as Oliver's been the big stick of the Albany lineup for most of the season. Here's Perez's 1-0 pitch, and Oliver's going to swing and foul tip it for strike number 1. Count now 1-1. Breeze here picks up somewhere around 9 to 10 miles an hour. See the mesquite trees out beyond the outfield fence, lightly moving. So 2 balls and 1 strike here to Oliver. That's going to be grounded up towards the shortstop. He'll make a nice play in the hole and throw out Oliver. Well, you got to tip your hat there to the shortstop for DeLeon. He fielded that one just beyond the second base bag, and he had to go a long ways to throw out Oliver there, and that'll be out number 2. That'll go 6-3. So 6-3 put out of Oliver will bring up Chip Chambers, and Chip swinging a hot bat. He'll take that first pitch for strike 1. Kind of an off-speed breaking ball that Chambers elected not to swing at. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Perez's breaking ball is going to miss way outside and high. So the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike. With Albany taking game 1 yesterday, if able to take game 2, that would end the series. But if DeLeon was able to take this game 2, that we would have game 3 this afternoon after a short break. But the Lions already up 2-0, and really having a good showing here early on in this ball game. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. Perez's pitch count's up to 39 pitches here. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Chambers. And that's going to be a strikeout of Chambers, but the ball's going to get away from the catcher, and Chambers will reach base safely at first base. So Perez gets the strikeout, but Chambers still reaches first base, and that'll extend the inning for Chapman. So Clay Chapman will come up the bat here, and the freshman catcher was allowed out in his first at bat as he flew out to the left fielder. I was talking to Clay's dad before the game and asking for, he's recruiting. Said he's thrown about 700 pitches in the last week of batting practice to Clay, so he's recruiting a fresh arm. Let's see if Chapman can find one of the gaps here. As Perez comes set, Chambers with a small lead at first base, and he'll line this one down towards left field, but it's going to be foul. Count now 0-1. So no balls, one strike here, 2 outs. We're in the third inning. Lions lead 2-0. Chambers is going to go off on this pitch to second base, but the ball is going to be fouled back off the mid of the catcher, and it rolls back towards the screen. So Chambers will have to retrieve back to the first base bag here, and the count now at 0-2. Clay bats from the left side. Where's that number 10? Slow curveball is going to be hit into the outfield for a base hit. It'll get down in front of the left fielder. So Chambers to second, Chapman to first base. And the Lions got something going here with 2 outs. So bring up Wesley Gleets. And Gleets, he was able to score on the pickoff of second base. They tried to pick off one of the Albany runners at second base, and when they threw it out in the outfield, it allowed Gleets to run in to score the second run of the game. This ball is going to be grounded towards the shortstop. He'll come in, throw on to first base, and that'll be a out of 6-3 on Gleets. So that'll end the inning. The Lions will leave a couple stranded. You're still listening to Albany Baseball.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 12 million participants in America who take part in high school sports or activities.
You struck out that last batter with Oliver. Welcome back here. Albany leading 2-0. We're in the bottom of the third inning, and this will bring up Couch, the number 9 hitter in the Bearcat lineup. Oliver at 36 pitches through 2 innings. It's not. Oliver's pitch is going to be a called strike on the inside corner. Couch, the second baseman, takes strike number 1, and that ball's, oh gosh. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches.
Back to action here, and count now 2-1 here is Oliver trying to find a strike here to Couch. We count 2-1, no outs here. Now they count 3-1. So 3 balls and 1 strike here. Oliver up to 40 pitches. Here's Brody's pitch, and that's going to be a called strike. I would say this umpire strike zone is in the favor of the pitchers. It's a rather big strike zone. He likes it down low and outside. Now that pitch missed in and high. So Couch will get a walk. He'll be rewarded first base on a walk, and that'll bring up Jones, the leadoff hitter and the starting center fielder for DeLeon. Coach is going through his signs and have went through it a couple of times, so let's see if they got something going here as Couch is at first base. Couch is going to try to steal second. The throw is going to beat Couch at second base, but the ball went off the glove of McCloy, and Mason seems to be all right, but his glove may have got knocked off his hand as Couch slid into the bag. Jones had squared to bunt. It is 1 ball and no strikes. That ball's going to be fouled back, and count now, I believe, is 1-1. Yep. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Jones. Couch stands at second base, and Albany leads 2-0. Yeah, that's going to be a strike all day. Jones looks back towards the home plate umpire, and now they're going to call in from some assistance here, so they might maybe some discussion on what the count is here. No, that's called him strike out. So I guess the first pitch of the at-bat was a strike. So when he squared the bunt, they must have called that a strike, and Jones seems as confused as I am. So I thought that ball was a little low in the zone. That's going to be out number 1, so it's a big out of Jones. Jones is one of the better hitters in yesterday's game 1 for DeLeon. This will bring up Perez, today's starting pitcher. And Brody already has 5 strikeouts on the afternoon. Oliver looks at second here. Here's the pitch. That's going to be lined towards Bakay in right field. Bakay will make the catch. He'll relay it in. Couch will tag up and run to third base. But that's 2 plays that Bakay's made out there in right field that are not the simplest of plays. He's made both of them. Now runner at third base, and that's Couch, but it's got 2 outs here. So Perez is going to be a fly out or a line out to the right fielder. Wesley Gleets kind of staying about a good step and a half away from the third base bags, just staying close enough to make sure that Couch doesn't get a big secondary lead over there at third base. DeLeon's, one of their runs scored yesterday was on a pass ball. Now Chapman will call timeout and go out and have some words with Oliver. So Oliver back on the mound here. He'll throw from the windup. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's going to miss low. Count now 3-0. Oliver, 5 strikeouts. He's walked 3. And he'll pour that fastball right across the heart of the plate for strike number 1. So the count now 3-1. Ball's going to be hit towards the left fielder, Peterson. Peterson will catch it for out number 3. So DeLeon's going to leave one stranded. Your line still lead by a score of 2-0. We'll be right back.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
All right, welcome back here. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Albany leading by a score of 2-0. Oliver, 52 pitches on the afternoon. Perez, the starting pitcher for DeLeon's, at 44. Albany scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second. Oliver has kept DeLeon from crossing home plate. Here's Perez's pitch to Peterson. Peterson's going to line this one towards the third baseman. Third baseman's going to bobble it. He'll throw on to first base, but Woods down the line quickly, and he'll reach base safely. So good job there by Woods Peterson. It's going to be an E5. Peterson will be at first base. That'll bring up Mason McCloy. McCloy 1 for 1 in the afternoon. He had the bunt that was perfectly placed beyond the pitcher and in front of the third baseman. See if Peterson tries to steal here. McCloy looks to bunt here, but he'll take a pitch outside for ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here. Albany leading the series 1-0. McCloy's bunt's going to be a failed attempt, so the count now 1-1. McCloy looked like he's trying to push that one towards first base. Here's the 1-1 pitch as the sun has peeked through the clouds here in Graford, Texas. I don't think it'll stay out long. These heavy, big puffy clouds in the sky here, but get some little sunshine. Peterson will get to second base as the catcher tried to come out of the catcher squat and throw it down to second, but as he did, the ball kind of came out of his hand and awkwardly fell to the turf there, so no throw to second. Count now 2-2 here to Mason. McCloy's going to swing at a pitch. It's going to be a strikeout of McCloy for out number 1. This will bring up Ballou. So Woods Peterson at second base here. Another opportunity for Albany to tack on another run here in the 4th inning. As Peterson with a small lead over there at second, he'll take another step. That's going to be grounded towards the shortstop. He'll glove it. He'll throw on to first base, and he'll throw out Ballou. Ballou has moved Peterson over to third base. So a 6-4 put out of Ballou, and that'll bring up Vickers. Vickers 0 for 2 on the afternoon. But just put the ball in play both times and reach base safely one time on a E6. Got 2 outs here, and that slow breaking ball is going to catch the outside corner. So the count now 0-1. So no balls and 1 strike here. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Albany 2, DeLeon 0. That's going to be fouled back to the screen here as Vickers down in the count 0-2. Aiden into the batter's box, and he'll foul that one off. Good job there by Vickers to spool a really tough curveball. A few of these Albany baseball players will be headed off next week to play at regional tennis, and Aiden's one of them. Ball fouled back. So Vickers still at 0-2, but see if Aiden can get that ball right over the second baseman's head here. The Perez comes set. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss high. So count now 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here. Peterson's still over at third base. Perez's pitch count has climbed to 56 pitches. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss on a breaking ball, and that'll end the inning. So we'll leave 1 stranded. The Lions still have a 2-0 lead. We'll be right back.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great. Participate!
Welcome back here. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Albany 2, DeLeon 0. Oliver back on the heel here. He's got 52 pitches thrown here so far, and Oliver back on the pitching rubber, and this ball's going to be fouled. I don't think they ever called a foul ball. The batter's acting like it's a foul ball. Home plate umpire didn't make a call, so you nearly have to call him out. He's going to call his crew, and the batter acted like he fouled it off his leg, and it rolled into the field of play, which would have been a foul ball, but he never ran. But Oliver fielded the ball and threw on to first base, and nobody threw their hands up. Out. Yep, that's what they got to call. That's the correct call. Now, if I'm the DeLeon coach, I'm saying there's 4 sets of eyes out here, and none of y'all saw that the way we did. But he's not going to argue it, so maybe he's not going to win that argument anyway. So 1 out. This one's going to be skied towards the center fielder. Chambers is going to come in a few steps and make the catch, and that's 2 quick outs. So good job there by Oliver, and get 2 quick outs here to start this inning, and you can really see that Oliver's got 5 strikeouts this afternoon, but the defense has played really well behind him. Swing and a miss as Torres. So had a fly out to center field by Gibson, and Wright grounded out to the pitcher. Oliver's going to paint the outside corner for strike number 2 here to Torres. So Brody playing with his delivery here. Big old long pause in his delivery. Swing and a miss, and that's going to be a strikeout. So 1-2-3 inning for Oliver. Line still at 2-0. We'll be right back. Welcome back here. Going to be Callan Fairchild up the bat here to start this 5th inning. And Fairchild's going to line this one into left field. That's going to be a base hit. It's a good hit there by Callan. It'll be a leadoff single for Fairchild. And when he gets on the bases, I expect him to be over at third base here pretty quickly. This will bring up Oliver, and Oliver 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Last time he grounded out to the shortstop. Here's the pitch, and that's going to miss outside. Fairchild still over at first base here, but that pitch was more executed like a pitch out. Here's a 1-0 pitch. That's going to miss low, and Gibson will catch the ball at first base, but Fairchild able to run back into the bag. Count now 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes here. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Albany 2, DeLeon 0. And breaking ball is going to miss outside, so the count now 3-0. So Albany got something going here. The leadoff single and Oliver ahead in the count 3-0. You got the extremely hot bat of Chip Chambers on deck. Breaking ball is going to be a called strike. Looked like it was up in the zone, and Oliver wants to protest, but he knows better, so he just kind of tilts his helmet to one side and looks down towards Coach Fairchild. Here's the 3-1 pitch here by Perez. That's going to miss low, so it's going to be a walk of Oliver. So runners at first and second now, and this will bring up Chambers. Chambers 1 for 2 on the afternoon. He had a single in the first inning, struck out in his second at bat, but was able to reach base safely on the wild pitch or the pass ball. And got a courtesy runner for the pitcher, Oliver, and that'll be Sean Keene. So Sean will be at first base here. And Chambers batting from the left side will crowd the plate here. Here's the pitch. That's going to be grounded towards Couch. Couch will bobble it. He'll throw on to first base, and that'll retire Chambers for the first out of the inning. But Chambers able to move Fairchild and Keene over to second and third. And this will bring up Clay Chapman. So Chapman 1 for 2 on the afternoon. He had a good base hit in his second at bat of the afternoon. He'll line this one off the netting that goes down towards the third base dugout. You see Clay's approach today. He's really just kind of throwing his hands towards the outside pitches and just driving those balls to left field. This one is pitch comes in on his hands and he pulls it down towards the first baseline, and that's going to be foul. So the count now 0-2. Appears to be seeing the ball well. Perez's pitch count up to 66 pitches now. He works quickly. That ball's going to be lined to the shortstop for an out. Kind of went off the end of the bat of Chapman for out number 2. Sean Keene had to run and dive back towards the second base bag to keep from being doubled off. So there's 2 outs now, and this will bring up Gleets. Gleets on the afternoon is 0 for 2 officially, but did get on base on a fielding error. That breaking ball is going to be I think a ball. So 1 ball, no strikes here. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Albany leads 2-0. Here's Perez's pitch. Did you watch Wesley, the way he steps with that front foot? You would think, man, I'd never throw one inside to him. I'd always throw it outside. You would think that he can't reach that outside corner, but let's have some long arms. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That's going to be grounded right back towards Perez, the pitcher. He'll throw on to first base. The lines are going to leave a couple of stranded, so score's still going to stay at 2-0. You're listening to Albany Baseball.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
Oliver back on the mound here as Brody's pitch count is at 57 pitches here. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Albany 2, DeLeon 0. The junior fires a fastball It's going to be a big swing and a miss by Andrew, and Oliver ahead in the count 0-1. Here's Brody's pitch, swing and a miss. Count now 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes here. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Your outfielder, Woods Peterson, playing pretty much straight away and left, maybe a few steps in. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be a strikeout. Another strikeout there, strikeout number 7 on the afternoon for Brody. So Oliver pitching really well this afternoon. Albany leading 2-0 here in game number 2 of this series. After coming away with the victory yesterday, Albany just a few outs from closing out this series and punching their ticket to play Wink next week. Here's the 0-1 pitch by Brody, and that's going to miss outside. That breaking ball, it's going to miss low and outside for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here. They've turned on the lights here on the baseball field as the clouds have started to kind of cloud back up, and pitch going to be a swing and a miss. So the count now 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gleach, your third baseman, plays. He's kind of hugging that third base bag. That's going to miss. Nope, it's going to be a called strike. Strike out number 2. So Oliver continues that streak of 3 straight strikeouts. He closed out the last inning with a strikeout. He's added 2 more this inning, 2 outs, and this will bring up Couch, the second baseman for DeLeon. Swing and a miss. Couch offers at a high pitch for strike number 1. Your infielder, you got Fairchild, McCloy, Vickers, and Gleats. The catcher, Chapman. The pitch is going to miss inside, so the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Your outfield, you got Chip Chambers out in center field, Woods Peterson in left, and then over there in right field, you got Landon Bakay. Pitch is going to miss low as the ball gets away from Chapman. The count now 2-1. So 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brody out of the windup, and he's going to miss outside. So the count now 3-1. Got to make sure the defense doesn't kind of fall asleep here, as Oliver's really taking this game under control here. But got to expect Couch to put the ball in play at some point. He's going to miss low. That's going to be a walk of Couch. So he's walked twice so far. And it'll bring up Jones here, and Jones, the leadoff hitter and starting center fielder, is 0 for 2 on the afternoon. He struck out in both plate appearances, but yesterday he had an extremely good hit. So Couch over at first base. I got Fairchild holding him on. Chapman's going to throw down to second base. That may have went off the chest of Couch as he was sliding in. Yep, he took one right. Yeah, he's just going to wave everybody off. He's fine. So the throw down by Chapman hit Couch as he slid into the second base bag. And count now 0-1 here to Jones. Jones is going to hit this in the left field. Peterson will slide in. He'll make the catch on a hop. Couch will come in to score. That'll be the first run for DeLeon. Peterson did a good job to come in and try to catch that ball, but he got down and hit the turf. And that'll be an RBI single for Jones. That's going to be the first run of the afternoon for DeLeon, and DeLeon's cut the lead to 2-1. This is going to be popped up in the infield. Oliver will call everybody off. He'll walk into foul territory and make the catch. So that'll end the inning, but not before DeLeon can score 1. So it's Albany 2, DeLeon 1. We'll be right back.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
All right, welcome back here as Peterson steps into the batter's box. Albany leading 2-1. Pitch by Perez is going to miss outside. So Perez is at 71 pitches. We're in the top of the 6th inning. So Albany up 2-1 here in game number 2. Trying to close out this series. And the second pitch is going to miss. So the count now 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes here to Peterson, the left fielder. Woods is 0 for 2 this afternoon. He'll foul this one back, so the count now 2-1. Peterson did reach on a throw-in error by the third baseman. Has reached first base safely once this afternoon, but 0 for 2 officially in the books. That pitch is going to be a called strike on the outside corner, so the count now 2-2. Jones, the center fielder for DeLeon, playing pretty much straight away, maybe slightly shaded towards the left fielder. Swing and a miss. That'll be a strikeout of Peterson. They'll have to throw down to first base to record the out after the drop third strike. And that'll record an out of Peterson at first base. And they're throwing the ball around the diamond here. And they'll just bring up Mason McCloy. McCloy 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Struck out in his last plate appearance, but got one out here, and see if Mason can get that bunt down here. Now the third baseman starts to move in, expecting the attempt from McCloy. Here's Perez's pitch. Yeah, he's swinging away. McCloy will foul it back to the screen and make the count 0-1. Both these pitchers pitching to contact this afternoon. Perez at 76 pitches, Oliver at 72. Now the count 0-2 as McCloy takes a big hack at it. So Mason, a swing and a miss. That'll be a strikeout of Mason McCloy. This will bring up Ballou. Ballou 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Got a strikeout and a ground out to the shortstop. So Albany able to score 1 in the first, 1 in the second. And then DeLeon tacked one on there in the bottom of the 5th. Big slow curveball is going to be high for ball number 1. So 1 ball and no strikes here to Ballou. Officially the DH for Paquet in right field. That's going to miss high for ball number 2. So 2 balls and no strikes. Ballou, where's the number 24? The senior going to take a strike down the middle of the plate for strike number 1. So 2 balls and 1 strike here to Ballou. And Perez looks in for a sign here, and here's the delivery. Landon's going to pop this one up towards the second baseman and shortstop. The shortstop will make the catch beyond the second base bag for the final out of the inning. So the score will stay at 2-1. You're listening to Albany Baseball. All right, Albany just 6 outs away from taking game number 2 and taking this series, but a 2-1 game here. And DeLeon will come up to bat here with their number 3 hole batter in the batting order coming up here. And let's see if Oliver can keep this strong pitching performance up, as Oliver's going to miss low and outside. Brody at 73 pitches on the afternoon. 73 pitches from Oliver. This ball's going to be sharply grounded towards Fairchild. Fairchild will dive, make the play, but the ball will roll away from him, and Oliver trying to cover first. There'll be no throw at first, so that'll be a infield single. I don't know. I'll let Miss Faith do that. Have they had a base hit yet? DeLeon? That may, yeah. That was going to be a runner at first base. So DeLeon has their leadoff runner at first base here, and Oliver working out of the stretch. This is probably a big inning for DeLeon, as they'll have kind of the meat of their order up here, and we're in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 2-1 game. Count now at 0-2 here to Wright. As Wright has walked, and he's also grounded out. Kid's having some pretty aggressive swings here, but he's down in the count 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes here. Runner over at first base. Albany's middle infield playing a double play depth here. That slow breaking ball going to miss the outside corner. I'm saying that was just a little high maybe. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's going to miss low and outside. It's the count now 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. No outs. We're in a 2-1 Albany lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning here in Graford, Texas. That's going to miss up in the zone. So Oliver's pitch count now at 80. He's got a full count here. 3-2 count here to Wright. Gibson waiting on deck. That's going to miss. That'll be ball number 4. So Wright will get first base. And DeLeon's got something going here with runners at first and second and no outs. And got a mound visit from Coach Fairchild. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Albany Baseball.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 12 million participants in America who take part in high school sports or activities.
After the mound visit, Coach Fairchild back to the first base dugout, and this will bring up Gibson. Gibson 0 for 2 on the afternoon. He has struck out, and he flew out to Chambers in center field. That's going to miss low and outside here, and runners at first and second, no outs in a 2-1 game here. This is crunch time for your Albany baseball team here. That ball's going to be hit towards Vickers. Vickers will glove it. He'll throw on to second base. McCloy on the first is a double play. A great job there by Vickers to McCloy on to Fairchild. Wow. Huge play. Gibson was trying to get down the line as quickly as he could, but really the transfer throw from the catch and throw from McCloy was really quick, and that ball got to Fairchild in enough time to get the double play. And that's the second double play of the series. I've been doing Albany baseball for some time now, and that doesn't happen a whole lot. Maybe the teams that went deep in the playoffs, double plays were not a norm. So to have two in this series, and both of them in big parts of the game, kind of ending DeLeon's big opportunities in the inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that's going to be popped up towards Fairchild. Fairchild in foul territory. Callan moving towards the dugout, and he goes off his glove. Went off his glove and rolled into the dugout, and that'll give the batter another opportunity here. I think this is a pinch hitter, actually. So 2-1 pitch here of Oliver with 2 outs. That's going to miss inside, so the count now 3-1. So 3 balls and 1 strike here. Got a runner over at third base, and that's a tying run at third. Here's Oliver's pitch, and that's going to miss inside. So a runner now at first and third, and this will bring up Andrew. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Number 7. All right, just got to get 1 out here. Important thing is for Clay to keep the ball in front of him, that catcher. The ball's going to be skied back out of play. Count now 0-1. Oliver's pitch count now at 89 pitches. We're here in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 2-1 game. That's going to be a called strike as he paints the outside corner. So heading the count at 0-2 here. Oliver set at the belt. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. That'll be another strikeout. That'll end the inning. So DeLeon will leave a couple stranded. We're on to the top of the 7th inning. Your Lions lead 2-1.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
All right, welcome back here. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Your Lions leading 2-1. Game 2 of this series, and Albany with the victory in Game 1 are just a few outs here from taking this series. But see if we can add on a couple of runs here in the top of the 7th inning. And Vickers is going to take that curveball for a strike. Aiden 0 for 3 on the afternoon. But his big play was in the last inning, the double play with Vickers to McCloy to Fairchild. It ended a big opportunity for DeLeon. This ball is going to be skied towards right field in foul territory, and that'll hit the turf. So the count now 0-2. So 0-2 here to Vickers, and coming up next inning for DeLeon will be the number 8 and 9 hitter. So it'll be 8-9-1 in the DeLeon lineup. Ball's going to be grounded towards the second baseman. He'll glove it. He'll throw on to first base, but that'll be an infield single for Vickers. Good job there by Aiden getting down the line quickly. And that ball was hit towards the second base bag. The second baseman was shaded more towards the first baseman, and he had to go a long ways. And once he got to the ball, he's going to have to make a strong, accurate throw to throw out Vickers, and Aiden able to get to first base safely. So leadoff single here for Albany, and this will bring up Fairchild. He'll sky this one towards Jones. Jones will camp underneath it, and that'll be an out. So a fly out to center field for Fairchild, and this will bring up Brody Oliver. And Brody did walk in his last plate appearance. He can really help his own cause out here. So Oliver has struggled at the plate in this series, but he's one of those bats that's due for a big base hit at some point, and see if Oliver can find the gap. That's going to miss outside for ball number 1. DeLeon's pitcher here, Perez, up to 87 pitches. So Vickers with the lead over at first base. Here's the curveball, and Oliver's going to swing through it. So the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here. 1 out. Albany 2, DeLeon 1. Left fielder plays in a few steps in left field. So see if Brody can, I think, I'll throw down to first base trying to get Vickers, and Vickers dives back into the bag safely, and count will stay at 2-1. So 2 balls and 1 strike here to Oliver. Brody's had a strong pitching performance this afternoon. He'll foul this one back towards the softball field, and the count will go to 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. Albany scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second. DeLeon added 1 in the bottom of the 5th. Vickers going to slide in safely at second base. So Vickers now in scoring position. Good job there by Aiden to get to second. It's a full count here to Oliver. So first base open here, and Chip Chambers waiting on deck. Perez looks over to second. That's going to be grounded towards the third baseman. He'll pick it up in foul territory. Well, you start kind of recapping the game in your mind, and you go, you know, the big play for Albany was, and one that the DeLeon coach probably is doing, that's the reason you don't try to pick the guy off at second with the runner at third base. But that throw out into the outfield is basically the difference in the game right now. Here's Perez's pitch. Now it's going to be fouled back. So the count is full here to Oliver, and Oliver's done a good job to spool some tough pitches. Vickers being held on by the shortstop, so there's a gaping hole between the third baseman and the shortstop. Oliver Fouls out and back to the screen, and he's running Perez's pitch count up over 94 pitches now. Here's Perez's curveball, and that's going to be skied towards right field. Right fielder's underneath it. He'll make the catch. Vickers will tag up and head to third. So the runner now at third base and 2 outs. That'll bring up Chip Chambers. Chip 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Had a single in his first plate appearance, and then had a strikeout, and then he had a ground out to the third baseman. Or second baseman, sorry. So Vickers stands at third in a 2-1 game. Big cut there by Chip's going to foul it back to the screen, so the count at 0-1. We're in the top of the 7th inning with the Albany up 2-1. Trying to get that one more run pushed through to give us a little bit more breathing room. This will be the 97th pitch from Perez, and that'll be fouled back off the netting. The count now 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes here. Got 2 outs. Chambers will put his toes on that inner part of the batting box. Here's the pitch, and he'll foul that one off into the mitt, and that'll end the inning. So we'll leave one stranded at third, but Albany's 3 outs from advancing in the playoffs. It's 2-1. You're listening to Albany Baseball.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
All right, Albany 3 outs away from advancing in a series against Wink here, and Albany leading 2-1. And Oliver back on the mound, and he just threw a strike on his 93rd pitch of the afternoon. So Oliver delivery here, swing and a miss. So they got 8-9-1 up for DeLeon in the batting order. Ahead in the count 0-2. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be grounded towards Oliver. Nice play there by Vickers. So Vickers from the shortstop position, he charged in and made the play just in front of the second base bag and threw out the DeLeon runner at first base for out number 1. Kind of a slow chopper. It went over the leaping Oliver at the pitching mound, and Aiden made what looked like a routine play, but more of a difficult play that he made it look really easily. That's going to be a strike here. A strike? ball. So count now 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes here to Couch. And Couch has walked both times he's batted this afternoon. He's the only run that's scored for DeLeon. This is a big out here. Got to keep Couch off the bases because Jones, the leadoff hitter, is probably the biggest threat for DeLeon. Count now 2-1. Oh, that missed inside, and Couch didn't show much effort to try to move out of the way of that pitch, and it nearly caught his left elbow. So the count now 3-1. That's been a strike all day. It's going to be a strike on the outside corner, so the count now full. So 3 balls and 2 strikes here to Couch, 1 out. Here's Oliver's pitch here in the bottom of the 7th, a swing and a miss. So Couch is going to strike out. That's the 2nd out of the inning, and Albany needs 1 more out here to advance to the playoffs. Brody up to 100 pitches. Yesterday it was a strong pitching performance from the starting lefty, Chip Chambers. And today it's Brody Oliver, the righty. So 1 ball and no strikes. That pitch is going to miss low. So the count now 2-0. He wanted to call it a strike. So 2 balls and no strikes here to Jones. Albany leading 2-1, and that breaking ball is going to miss up in the zone. And Jones, a pretty athletic, fast-looking kid, so we really don't want him on the bases. It's a running threat in a one-run game. Here's a 3-0 pitch. That's going to be a called strike as it catches the inside corner. Jones 1 for 3 on the afternoon. He struck out his first 2 times up at bat, and he had a single in his last one. That's going to miss low, so that'll be a walk of Jones. It's a tying run at first base now in a 2-1 game, and this will bring up the starting pitcher, Perez. And Perez did hit a ball pretty sharply to right field that Bakay ran down in his 2nd at bat. That's going to be a called strike. The count now 0-1 here to Perez. Oliver out of the stretch here. He'll miss, and that's going to go off the face mask of Chapman, and Jones will get down to 2nd base. So now a base hit to the outfield will likely tie this game. So the count now 1-1. Oliver with a big long pause. That ball's going to be chopped foul towards the first base dugout. So DeLeon down to their final strike here. They count it 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. Lions lead 2-1. And a Bearcat at 2nd base. Oliver going to miss high. So Oliver tries to fire one in, and the count now 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Vickers holding the runner on at 2nd base. Here's the pitch. That's going to be a called strike. Perez is going to strike out looking, and that will end the game. And Albany will take the series in a 2-0 fashion. So Albany takes game 1 yesterday in Clyde, takes game 2 here in Graford this afternoon. So it's going to be a victory for your Albany baseball program. And we're going to congratulate Coach Fairchild, Coach Faith, and Coach Chambers. Job well done. And we'll be seeing y'all next week. Those times and stuff will be relayed out on social media, so just stay tuned for all those updates. But you'll get to see Albany baseball for another week. For Ryder Peacock, I'm Tony Wheeler. Till next time, go Lions.